rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First, I'm going to open a public hearing on the reappointment of Dennis Stevens to the planning board. Any questions, comments? If there is any questions and comments, I'm going to close the public hearing. Motion?
Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion made and seconded to approve the reappointment of Dennis Stevens to the planning board with a term to expire September 2025. All those in favor? Next, the minutes, August 10th. Questions? Comments?
Second.
Motion made, seconded to approve the minutes of August 10th. All those in favor? Old business? Yes, Gary.
I know we had a drop-off box for ballots in the last primary election. Are we going to have that in the general election? You know, I don't know if it's old business or not.
We had a Dropbox during COVID for office business, but we didn't have a Dropbox for the election.
Oh, so there were no ballots in that box?
Correct,
Because
yeah.
At that time, we're supposed to get signatures for people, we're not supposed to allow them to put it in a Dropbox. This is a new thing that's coming out with the Dropbox situation,
All right.
and we haven't decided what we're doing yet.
Okay. Well, people have been asking, so. I just-
Yeah.
All right, very
Have
good.
them, been calling me now and so on.
Yeah, okay.
Anything else? Next is Jewel Street request for reconsideration of the removal of a portion of the sidewalk. And our first step is, if we're going to bring it up for discussion, is we need a motion to reconsider.
We got a petition that 20 people in the neighborhood signed. They'd like to reconsider taking out the sidewalk. All these people. I got a petition here from people in the neighborhood.
Just wait a second, I gotta,
Okay.
we have to request it so we can get into it,
Okay.
because we've already voted the other way, so.
I know.
I'll make a motion request for reconsideration of removal of the portion of sidewalk in Jewel Street.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor? All those opposed?
Terry, I can't hear you.
They're
Move
gonna
closer, Sidney.
reconsider the removal of it again.
You gonna reconsider it?
Yes. Yes, that's what the vote just was.
I'm sorry?
That's what they just voted.
Okay.
Now, questions, comments?
Okay. We have 23 signatures of 18 households in the neighborhood of just 4 streets. Wasn't a lot of time, I'd like to submit this. Don't want to get too close.
A lot of people use that sidewalk.
Most of those people that are on there, are people that walk on a regular basis. We gave,
We didn't go knocking doors.
Do all-
We just got
Do
people.
all those people walk
Just a
on Jewel
second,
Street?
let them finish first, please.
Most of the people on there are just walking by. We didn't go knocking on people's doors because of this virus going around and everything. We caught a lot of people just walking.
and it was just up on Valkyrie Drive and all of the, and Jewel Street, Lavoy Street, Elm Street, and the 2 side streets. The streets closest to that sidewalk. We didn't really go crazy or
Nobody thought it was a very good idea.
nobody, everybody right away was jumped on and said, no, we want it.
How long's the sidewalk that you're talking
The
about?
sidewalk's not important, then why don't you consider it down Jewel Street? They never finished it down the end of Jewel Street, because they said there was never enough money. It goes from Lavoy to Bellevue, it's a very small sidewalk. And the only reason they put it in, because at the time, Mr. Barry on the corner wanted it. They never polled anybody who lived on Jewel Street, they just did it.
It goes all the way down to the street, all the way to Main Street.
And there are no other sidewalk up around that area either.
Judy?
How long is the sidewalk that we're talking about?
I think the piece, if you go down to the Global Water District where the joint in the road and the joint in the sidewalk is the same, the road's bad from there up and so is the sidewalk. So it's 600 feet of walking area coming to people's driveways and streets, it's about 500 feet of curb.
There's 4 properties on that strip. Yours is one. One of the gentlemen signed, hers and another house.
The thing when I was here a month ago, it was Cindy had to put on and come and spoke, and you guys voted to eliminate it, was, again, I don't have a horse in the race, but if you're gonna keep it, you need to fix it. As you can see, we're doing the squares on the manholes and trying to get them all fixed up. That road was gonna get paved this year till COVID came. And now it's getting paved the next year should the budget pass. The squares are gonna get paved in sometime in the next 2 weeks, I hope. And it's gonna set, and then next year it's gonna get nice. But the law says if you tear out, if you have a sidewalk adjacent to a road project, the sidewalk needs to be about ADA. So that sidewalk needs new curb, it needs to be 5 feet high, it needs braille plates at the intersections, and it needs tips, proper tips. The actual sidewalk that the state put in, on Route 4, private projects over the last few years, is already illegal because they're already making the tips more gradual than they are now. But anyway, it's hard to keep up with, but you have to do. So that was the thing here. I got a price from a paving company for the new bituminous curb. We're gonna tear out what's there, new curb, 5 feet wide, pave the surface, put in the braille plates, they're all proper to the ADA when they do the road. It's a little over $16,000, 600 feet. And you're looking at the same thing on Church Street next year, because we've got that all torn up with squares, and there's a sidewalk on both sides of that, and that's 1,300 feet, so that's 2,600 feet. And that is basically all the legitimate sidewalk in the town of Jay on local roads. There's 70 miles of local roads, another 25 of state. And them sidewalks are it. There was a small piece on Elm Street that actually has a crossing, a braille plate, and goes up by Paul Gilbert's. When it gets above Paul's, it heads up towards, oh God, he's in camp right now. Fungus, it's not legal. The state would not put crosswalks or braille plates or anything else on any of the other things up Otis, Maple. They're 2 feet wide, 1 foot wide. They call them snow shelves and leave them alone. But Jewel Street side, that's all our only sidewalks. But they're expensive. There's no way to get these things done for nothing.
So as someone who lives on Jewel Street and the sidewalk does directly affect, that has children, having that little bit of buffer, Jewel Street is probably one of the busiest streets in this town, besides Route 4 and 133. And those cars fly. So having that little bit of buffer between my yard and the road, and for my kids waiting for the bus, my kids walking anywhere, that sidewalk is used a lot. So to just go and rip it out does not make sense, just because one person doesn't want it.
If there's a daycare, Nita Hilton's up there too, she takes 5, 6 kids every single day. I know my husband walks it every single day. We're not asking you to, give us a whole street, we're just asking you to keep what's there and maintain what's there. That's just when it starts to go down the hill too, you start going down. In the wintertime, you can get, Jewel Street gets pretty slippery heading down straight. Their sidewalks are pretty safe, nice safe to each other.
Amen.
You're right. You walked it enough to know. You don't want to fall in the street, you want to fall on the sidewalk.
I've been doing it long enough, I can remember Joe Decatur problem no more.
Does anybody else have any questions, comments out there? Gary?
So you're saying to bring it up to standard, it has to be all tore up and redone? And
I don't see how you're gonna fix what's there. It's not wide enough, it doesn't meet the 60 inches, 5 feet. The curb is all fractured and broke. The surface itself is an ankle breaker. It's just bad, there's no braille plates, the cut downs are not proper. There's really nothing legal about it. It was put in there when Cornell Knight was the town manager, how long ago was that? How long you been here?
Better than nothing, I'll say that.
40 years ago.
If you end up changing this and doing that $16,000 worth of work, where are you getting the money from? What do we have to give up? Is it just paving another road?
I would say if you're gonna make it out of your paving project next year, it'd be out of your paving funds. That doesn't count us tearing out what's there, we can do
Yeah.
that. And then we'll have to haul in the gravel and back up the new curb. I did call Dale Waters today, who was the public works guy in Wilton. For the last 4 years, he's gone back to Rumford now. But Wilton has gone on a sidewalk program and put in a whole bunch of sidewalk up there recently over the last few years and used granite curb. And he was paying $25 a foot for the granite to come and be installed. That quote's at $10.50. So if you add $7,500 to that, you can do it in granite and then you're done with it forever. You might resurface the top in 100 years, or no, I shouldn't say 100 years, 25 or 30 years. Yeah.
Yes,
A question for John, okay? John, how long has that sidewalk been there, 25 years?
I would guess that Cornell was here, that was
25
Probably
years.
25 years.
25 years ago.
Because I grew up in that neighborhood, we never had a sidewalk and there was never a problem. And all of a sudden, this gentleman wanted us to did it only halfway, they didn't consent, go down the end of Jewel Street because they said they didn't have the money. So I did it halfway.
I will say that the sidewalk is no more legal on the lower end of Jewel, well, it is, it's fine the way it is now, because we're not doing anything with that street now. But this is Maine, we're gonna do something with that street sometime. And when we do, that's gonna have to be brought up to snuff, just, if you're gonna have it, it should be right, anyway. So, and that's a lot longer stretch than 600 feet, I can show you that. But again, it is what it is, if you want things
This
that.
is a main drag, I mean, Jewel Street is a very busy street in that neighborhood. If you come and stay there, you see the kids walking in, the school bus
I
kids.
can't hear what you're saying.
That it's a busy street.
It's a busy street, very, very busy with cars, up and down.
Sign that petition walks, most of the people walk that street.
Yeah, it really is.
Walk the neighborhood, especially down.
There's a side street, it might be a different story because they're not so busy up in that area. But Jewel Street, walking in, that street's busy. It's a good safety feature.
How long is Jill Street?
How long is Jewel Street?
From end to end?
I measured Church Street's 1,300 feet. I would say it's almost twice as long, but. Up above Jewel Street, it doesn't have an elevated sidewalk, but it is 5 feet wider up there, on Larry flags and up through, and people tend to walk on that extra width. We were going to paint a line there once to sort of delineate a walking area from a, and the drainage is put in also differently up there, so that they don't need a curb to direct your walk than they do what's there. But we never did because all we have is a push buggy to make a line and then we look up and we need it done.
is that what you would have done if you took out the side, if you took out the sidewalk, would you have a line, a white line on the side?
We don't really have a way to paint a white line. We have a little paint machine that we spray foams with. The times we did that 8 feet at a time, it would look ugly. You hire one of them guys comes, I don't know if you can get one of them guys comes right up on the line either. And it depends what you do with the real estate at the curb and behind. Return it to the landowner, return it to road. If you return it to road, now you gotta grade that and pave that in. So there's a cost there also. That cost would balance off the surface of the new sidewalk. The difference being the curb. So to answer your question, Julie, I would say the asphalt money would have to come out of the paving budget another year. We have an O&M budget for, because we never know what's gonna be told to do. That would buy the gravel and the fuel and the labor to do that piece.
Just having a painted line is not going to do the same as having a curb, the sidewalk to at least give a bumper that it slows me down if I'm at it.
And they fly over that hill.
I mean, I walk my dog on Maycomber Hill and there's no curb and people go by me 60 miles an hour. And
Okay. But Jewel Street's a main street in the town, and my children's safety is important.
well, so's mine.
Any other question? Yeah.
I'm curious about winter maintenance, how is that maintained and what is it, plowed with regular street plow
we get a little bit of snow, we run a sidewalk plow. Sidewalks, you have no, front laws protect you, you can't be sued for unplowed or icy sidewalks, so they tend to be the last. And so we get to them when we can. There's not that much of us anymore. We don't pick up snow down there hardly anymore like we used to. But we push it in, but you can only push it in once or twice, then you gotta go collect it. So when we're down there, we collect it. So it's a combination, it gets plowed, sometimes it gets picked up, sometimes it sits for 2 weeks because it keeps snowing or something's broken. We're off doing other stuff.
So you say a snow blower does those sidewalks?
No, you don't use a snow blower down in Chisholm very much like that because nobody wants the snow blowed back at them. It's been that way since I've been there, 45 years.
So you don't snow blow anything into the road and then pick it up that way when you do?
When we go pick up the load.
Yeah.
Or if there's a loader right there, a truck is putting it, not to leave it, narrow the street.
Yeah.
We don't.
Oh, yeah, right. Okay. But that's the only time that you use a snow blower.
No, we use a plow most of the time. Just run a plow, you can send a guy down there and run over with a plow. The problem you get in that part of Cindy's vein is, the guy runs over there with a plow, and he's plowing this sidewalk and he gets to a driveway. While you're leaving this furrow off the sidewalk, and even though that driveway's been cleaned, some plowed snow runs off that plow, and before you get across that driveway, it stops, but you leave a snowball or 2 or 3. But there's, between the town garage, Hannaford, plowing sidewalks all the way down there, 2 sides of Church Street, and Jewel Street, that's a little 3.5 miles of sidewalk, almost 4 miles of sidewalk. If you stop and shovel out every driveway you went through, if I send that guy down at 7 o'clock in the morning, he can come back on Monday, he can come back on Thursday.
Nobody's actually shoveled their driveway, have they, John?
Yes, they have. And repeatedly, winter after winter, so.
Yeah, my driveway gets plowed in too, so everybody's done.
So am I. I think mine gets extra.
He helps a whole bunch of senior citizens, and he goes back 2 or 3 times.
But the sidewalk plows are paying for some people because if the storm's over, that shows up the next day, or 9 o'clock that night as it's done, and they get a few snowballs left. So like I said, if we stop and clean that up, there, all the driveways, we don't clean up the roads.
That's why we don't get up to it.
We'd be there for 100 years. It's like catch basins. We have 200 catch basins in town, and I swear,
You should see
150, and the owners appreciate that they're there, they cleaned off and this and that, and there's 50 people who call you, watch you come down and kick it.
See what happened today on Jewel Street, those basins. That's the one that's getting through.
It's worse on Belleville.
Yeah, that's us, right across the street from us.
Right up from Highland, I see that today, across the back of Dick Moss.
Look at that.
The phone rang, see?
What's that?
My phone rang.
They did? Didn't doubt it.
Any other questions, comments?
Make a motion that we continue with the removal of that portion of the sidewalk.
Any second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor? All those opposed? Any other motions?
Make a motion that we refurbish the sidewalk.
Terry, I can't hear you, I have a problem with you.
Judy's motion of leaving it the same was defeated, and Gary just made a motion.
What I'd like to do is make a motion to refurbish the sidewalk, bring it up to standard.
To leave it the way it is.
When the time is appropriate for the highway department to do that.
That would be next
Next
year.
year. Yeah, and personally, I'd like to see the granite sidewalk, curb in there, only because it does, like you said earlier, it costs a little bit more, but it'll last forever. And basically, all you have to do is continue.
Terry, I said, so you made a motion to leave it the way it is?
No,
To tear it out? Okay.
no, not to take it out.
I can't hear you.
Not to take it out,
To leave it the way it is?
yes.
Then you might as well consider it down Jewel Street, might as well do the rest of it down as VF.
He's making a motion. Gary's making a motion.
To what?
Upgrade it.
Refurbish it when the time is right. Johnny says next year is the time they're gonna be doing the road. So I'm making a motion that we redo the sidewalk and bring it up to standard at that time.
So John, I'll be calling you a lot this winter.
I think you know the number.
Then in the spring you can repair my lawn.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Who said second?
And Tom, I'll be calling you when they screw up the plowing.
Did you second that?
No, I didn't second it. I seconded that.
I'll second Gary's motion. Motion made and seconded. All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion passed to look at refurbishing the sidewalk next year.
Yeah. No, I didn't get anything
Next on the agenda, transfer station operations. You here?
What? Between Mark's squeaking shoes. Yes. You can't hear anything. Just sit still,
Transfer
go move your
station
feet.
operations.
Thank you.
Enclosed is your updated information. Questions, comments?
We own the dump.
Yes.
Yes.
This one says dump. We've been working on some not new rules, because they're old rules. If you look at our current webpage, you'll see what it says we're supposed to be doing, da-da-da-da-da. We've got practically an all-new crew last fall. We got a part-time that never really worked there, and hired a guy in December, I think he said at 26. He also has plows the Chisholm route, so he wasn't there much. And times spring rolled around, well, he was still plowing, and COVID showed up. So we stopped dealing with people face to face, trading papers, doing stickers, all that stuff. It just came the Wild West, basically. And we started in a few weeks ago, the first of the month actually, doing stickers again. Just ask for a registration, let them go bring the stuff and give them the sticker, and tell them where they put up their own on that type of thing.
And I can vouch they did that. Very good.
Yeah. I got that in here, I think, somewhere.
Twice.
If I can find the right folder, I can tell you how many we've done in a month, but it's amazing.
150. 150.
I think we'll guide that now. I went down to the vegetation over. But regardless, it's a lot. We've over 2,000 customers in the first 18 days of the month. It's a lot. But anyway, that's not the end of it. Our solid waste is up, I guess everybody says. I don't know what we're gonna do about that, but we have averaged over 200 ton a month since April. Had them all up again today to make sure that was correct. That puts us on a 2,400 ton a year pace. Last year, we went up 200 ton to get to broke 2,000 for the first time in 2006. I budgeted for 2,120, 2,150. I think we're going to exceed that. The brush pile is a problem. The brush pile is almost full. We've never had our brush processed unless it got processed in conjunction with the wood pile. And that wood pile consists of our clean wood and Walton, so it's 2 towns building that wood pile. That brush pile needs to go almost now. It's got to go before winter, because we need to have someone to put some snow over there, or we'll be doing snow removal at the dump to get the tractor trailer out. Or trying to push snow 100 yards somewhere else. I called our processor this morning and said, I've never done this, but how much to process the brush when you're not here doing the wood? Because he does it for free when he's doing the wood. If the chips for the wood are worth anything to him at all to speak of. If they're not, he just charges $5 a ton for doing the brush. But that's still pretty cheap money. I know I had to pay $27 a ton the last time they had just brushed them. So I called and I was told $24 a ton this morning. The last time we processed 166 tons. The time before that, 148 tons. So we're going to average over 150 tons. That's $3,600. I budget $1,700 for brush. And I blame that on it's being used commercially. It was never designed to be used commercially. That's a small area over there. It's a gravel pad. Public Works built it back in the day when Rhonda was there, but we did it through Adcog, Fergley, come up and laid it out. The DEP's proved what's there. We can't expand it, or we'll plug our drainage from where the water runs out back. So there's no making it any bigger, too deep permitting process and everything to do it anyway, but physically you can't do it either, so it's not gonna get any bigger. So brush is a problem. We've looked at the language the language originally in our stuff is always said, no bigger than 1 ton pickup, and that was to keep pulp trucks and all these other things out. It was made for residents. Certain things we do up there, we do residential, we do commercial. When we split up our curbside, we did some residential, we did some commercial. Our e-waste, we do residential, we do not do commercial. And the brush pile, I think you ought to do the same. You ought to define commercial for that and stop it. We could very easily do that twice. We could spend $7,000 on brush that I don't have. Then get it done again when he comes and gets the wood. If this keeps up. I don't think we can get our Christmas trees in there now. And I send the excavator down, and I've got it stacked. You look at it, looks like a tidal cave coming at you there. It's not like we're not trying to get it in there, because we are. You can only put so much in one spot.
Can we just shut down accepting brush until you can get the wood processed?
No, I can get it processed tomorrow, or a little
Well,
bit.
without paying the,
But you're gonna pay.
well, yeah, that's what I
You
mean.
can stop taking brush, but in my humble opinion, you'll have a petition with 162 people sign it the next day, not 22 you had for that. I mean, that's a big thing. Every homeowner's got a small trailer, they bring it, 20, 30 loads a day. But when you got a trailer park with 30 units that's coming in there with with a 550 and a dump body on it, consistently, to me, that's commercial. Had the people that cut Terry Trash trailer parks up there in North Jail last year brought all that brush in, that we'd have processed that alone 3 times. I just got a bunch of brush inside of my house and think I'm gonna build a little storage building. I got it all done, and I looked at my trailer, and I looked at my brush pile, and I have like 20 trips to the dump. What do I wanna call that? I call that. And Adam didn't go to the dump. But there was a Smitty's Tree Service was in there this week, and he got it from Residence J. I said, you're a commercial guy, and that's for residents, not for a commercial guy. He goes, I know, I don't blame you. I said, well, I think it's gonna change. He says, I don't care. But we don't set policy. We follow policy. We're looking for somebody to set policy. So we scratched out some things we thought made sense. We got rid of the 1 ton load because it doesn't apply anymore. The guy with his pickup truck, a 4x8 pickup, now has got a 12-foot tag-along trailer. You can't tell him he can't come to the dump. You don't want to tell him he can't come to the dump. We have to provide a service. A guy that's servicing 30 lots in a commercial trailer park, maybe. Or not, just be aware that we're going to pay. Or. You don't have to do anything. You say, take it, you're getting rid of it. We'll process it. And now's a good time, like I say, with these 2 guys who are out of COVID, and it's not winter, and we're burning the rules, and now's a good time to have rules.
Yep. Yeah, and they are doing a good job up there. I've seen a couple instances where they've handled it very well.
We're still doing over 200 every Saturday with a part-time guy, 1 guy. And he's keeping track of it pretty good.
Yep.
They got stuck with 5 gallons of gas the other day. It's got to go up to the household hazardous waste thing. Somebody said it was used oil, but back in the day, we checked it right there before they left. But, no, it's been fairly good.
Anybody got any questions or comments?
These are the rules and regulations under which you operate up there, Johnny?
Is that the new ones?
Those are the proposed.
These are the proposed.
Right.
If you compare that to what's currently on our webpage, it's not that much different, except we got rid of the 1 ton because it just doesn't apply anymore. You really got to divide it up, commercial and residential. What are you doing for residents? What are you doing for commercial people? If the pavement was broken and decide they're going to haul the trash to dump, they're going to say, no, it's not happening. You're not going to do
What
it.
about accepting commercial, but charging them a fee per ton? Because we have scales that we could weigh, coming in, weighing, going out, we know where it is, then we can assess them.
We can charge for shingles, we can charge for brush, we can charge for demo, we can charge for anything you want to break out. You better hire a man to stand there and take the cash, do the weigh-in, give the receipts. We got to weigh them in, got to weigh them out. It's a lot of traffic up where them scales are, which currently aren't working. We're getting prices to rebuild the scales.
But if somebody's to kind of just keep a record of it and then submit it to the town office, then we could bill them now, we couldn't we?
It's a whole other process for that office.
Good luck getting your money.
Yeah, you're better off with the money before they leave.
Well, the thing is, if they don't pay, then the next time you see them coming in, they don't come in. And then we don't have to worry about processing.
Every other town, you have to pay to get rid of your trash, and you have to pay to get rid of all your demolition. It's like, we're the only town around that you can get rid of it for free, and then you want to expand it to commercial as well.
I'm saying, let's charge a fee. I mean,
You say charge them, I think.
I agree with you, we should charge a fee, but we should charge a fee for those people who bring in so much that it becomes cost prohibitive for us to do just the citizens in the town.
Again, you're the policy makers. You tell us the rules, we'll follow them. Maybe you should have some meetings or whatever it takes. But I will tell you this, the most heard comment I hear up there is I pay for it through my taxes, and again when I get here. So, you know, everybody, because it hasn't been that way, and to initiate that is different. It's hard, people don't come to it. And it is a lot of paperwork. I don't care if you're gonna run a guy across the scale. He's gonna drive up to your building and you say, no, go around the loop, go across the scale. Now he's pointed back out again. So they come off the scale, go up forward, Jack's old store, turn around the bend, get on this, dump it. Get emptied and back on the scale.
So you couldn't direct them to be on the scale as they come in then?
Most places that do that down at the Auburn transfer station, my son lives in Auburn, they have a scale house, they have signs. You go to the scale, with everything. We don't have a scale house out there, we don't have a man out there. They're in the building, there's a little red light that shines up and somebody hits the scales. You need more people, and you certainly ain't gonna do it with one guy. One guy down there Saturday, over 200 people coming in, now you gotta weigh 25, 30 loads of brush. Ain't gonna happen. He's lucky to get money for there. They're picking air conditioners out of the trash now. They're picking toilets out of the leak pipe now. I mean, I don't know how we got about 252 Philly dump truck twice with railroad ties this weekend down back. I don't even know where they came from until I see the guys that work Saturday at Joel Cedar Lamont. But
Do we have anywhere where we can burn brush?
no, you can't burn there. That's in our license. You'd melt the paint off the building if you tried to anyway. When we were allowed to put that in, there was no burning. I don't know if they let you burn it or not anywhere. I know Livermore Falls finally has a collects brush on the way into the facility on some land that Adcock owned once we sold it down to Livermore. I guess I was still doing the Adcock thing, but we did. We sold them some acreage we had up there that we bought. It was next to the biomass. We were going to work some deals with the biomass. It never worked out. We ended up selling it to Livermore Falls. And now they put brush on that. But I don't think they burn it. I think they have the process still. Wilton gets theirs processed, and I know Randy, when he come process the last time in October, no, this spring. He came from Farmington to us. I don't think anybody burns brush. You get permitted home. That permit's a small mile, right?
I don't get a permit.
Burn it, I get caught. Neighbors lane starts catching on. I don't do that anymore.
One of the other pieces that we ought to talk about too, that's a change on this, is the bringing in whole houses or whole mobile homes. Like John mentioned, we've gotten rid of the one-ton piece of it, but it's more focused on breaking the material down. So you can bring in, a trailer with more material on it than a one-ton would hold, but you're breaking it down into smaller pieces, so we're not getting an entire deck that somebody's just slapped on a trailer and brought in, or side of a mobile home that they've gotten on a trailer and they've brought in, because I think it's much harder for us to process. So that's under the demolition piece.
And that's in our current webpage. That's our current operating rules. It's not in an ordinance. That's our current operating rules. That hasn't changed.
No, as far as bringing in the size of the structures.
Well, it says the boards are supposed to be no more than 8 feet and all that in there now, so.
But a 400 square foot structure.
No, that's not.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at. So about taking out a mobile home, taking down a mobile home or taking down a house and being able to bring it in, that's more of a larger project than what we're really designed to handle. So this limits it to a 400 square foot structure. Like if you take that down, we'll still accept it, but beyond that, we're not taking entire mobile homes or entire houses.
That's fair to me, really. And it is a big problem when they brought in the big pieces like that up there.
Well, they get smashed up eventually, and Randy can take quite a hunk of thing up there. I talked with him this morning about the brush and stuff, and we had a bunch of, I know it was a contractor, went and pulled a bunch of, I don't know if they're hedges or what they are, pretty good plants, and inside plant roots and all. And in on Saturday, and then Monday down there's got all this whole, in the brush pile, all these root balls and hedges, and he doesn't like that stuff, I can tell you. That stuff's almost bad to him. It's a Christmas tree with one piece of tinsel. He doesn't like that. He's not fussy about what he grinds up into. He doesn't like root balls and Christmas decorations. Now, nobody, he processes it into a marketable product. He's selling people with Christmas bulbs and tinsel and glass. So.
Any other questions, comments?
So Shiloh, you developed this as a criteria by which we can,
John, myself, Tim and Judy sat down and went through it. John did all of the initial work, and then we all reviewed it and kind of talked through the different criteria and what the options were, and then proposed it to the board. And if the board is in agreement with it, or if you want to make changes or whatever, once we've got it finalized, we'll put it into a form that we can send out to people, that we can put on our website, we can put it on our Facebook page, that we can get out and really start educating, that John can have the guys at the transfer station will have it and be able to handle it out to people, so that everybody's aware of what the rules are, and why our guys are out there asking for their registrations, that we're issuing dump stickers, and why these rules are. So that would be our next step.
Is there also a piece where we were going to mixed paper is going into trash because there's no market?
Alan never came back with a request for any changes.
But shouldn't we, if we're changing it now, shouldn't we get rid of mixed paper because we're paying, what, $75 a ton to get rid of mixed paper when it's going in the trash, and we pay
We're paying
$68?
We're paying $78 a ton for every recyclable Alan takes. I don't know what piece. I think he said his cost to get rid of mixed paper right now was 64 of the 78 he was getting. Is that what he said at that meeting? I believe he said 64. But that's his economics, not ours. We're paying 78 regardless. We're paying 78 for everything, 10 cans, no jugs. Our cost to get rid of recycle is $78 a ton. Our trash gear or trash is $63 a ton.
So wouldn't this be the time to get rid of mixed paper from recycling and put it into trash? Well, I mean,
John's answer's gonna be.
it's like glass
you
is
decide to
trash,
tell
well,
me.
mixed paper is trash.
Pardon?
I said glass is trash, now mixed paper is trash.
Right, and Alan, our recycler came to us and asked us if we could stop with the glass. There was no market, there is no market, never has been. It's trash. The new thing up in Bangor that started up didn't take glass from the get-go, even though I think it's closed already. Did I see that the other day?
I think I read that.
And people are really scrambling up there, but he asked for us to do that. We didn't just kick out the recycling. And he hasn't asked for the paper. We had a discussion where it came up, but he hasn't asked to do that. So if the board just wants to go ahead and do that, then the board gets to do that.
well, I think this is a good start, and I think that I'd like to make a motion that we move forward with this, and as we come up with other plans or ideas, we can, introduce it to the board and talk about, reconsider it.
I'm doing that right now.
Yeah.
Okay. But I mean,
But that's
people
not
are
part
so,
of this plan already, is it?
well, we discussed it.
The only thing that I would suggest is change shingles to asphalt shingles. That really delineates it. It doesn't say that in it, but I mean, people just assume that that's what it is.
No, not necessarily. We had to dump the asphalt shingle bin on the ground a few weeks ago because somebody thought wooden shingles were shingles.
Yeah, so,
They stripped the roof, it was asphalt on top, the old wooden shingles underneath, and it all got mixed and all went in. If you haul that down there, it's double price if they even take it. And that goes to Portland. So we dumped it on the ground, showed it what we could, the rest went in the trash.
that'd be my only suggestion on this,
That's a good suggestion.
is to put asphalt shingles in instead of just shingles.
But when we started this process also, it was let's nail down what we want to do, because we're coming right into budgets, And we're gonna have this discussion again, let's do it once, because every time you change something, you mess people up for months and months.
Yeah.
So if you do something today and change it in a month,
And I think what's gonna be helpful is putting it up to date into our webpage and then handing that information out at the recycling
I
center.
believe the other side of that is the non-usable.
Non-usable, contractor, non-resident.
Right. We've had one of them forever, that's a different name change, but it's non-resident. That works fairly well.
Alien.
I'd like to include the mixed paper as trash, so that we don't have to re-educate people every time.
You know, resident, alien, that is all.
So you're sticking with your motion?
Yes, I am.
Does it include getting rid of mixed paper?
No.
Question on the mixed paper thing. So I think it ought to be in the trash myself, but is this the time to do that, or is this time when we sit this winter and negotiate with our hauler, or what he wants to do next year, and would that be the time to make an adjustment on whether that continues to be a recycling item or a mixed paper item?
Oh, it's so complicated. If we're gonna bid, this contract is up this year. If you're gonna bid for the curbside collection of trash and recyclables, you gotta know what you're putting in that bid for the people gotta know what to pick it up. So you're gonna decide in the coming months, soon months, what's gonna be in that bid, so you can bid that, get that number back to include it in the budget. Right now, we're $123,000 a year for the services. That could go who knows where. Plus 78 for the recycling, that could go who knows where. Livermore Falls just signed a deal in at $95 a ton for recyclables, we're at 78. They're hauling it to Portland, we're not hauling ours anyway. He's picking it up on the curb, he's taking it to Sandy River, we're not touching it. That's a good deal. That's a very good deal. All we're doing is waiting so he can bill us at $78 a ton. That's an outstanding deal.
So we're paying Archie's $123,000 a year just to pick up in town, right? And we take care of the disposal costs of all of that, right?
Correct.
Except for the recyclables, which he takes care of,
Right.
and he bills us for the difference, right?
Correct.
I understand that.
That's a good deal.
Yeah.
I mean, every commodity you move from the recycling to the trash, you say $15 a ton. But you're talking 200 ton, you're not talking a whole lot of money.
Right.
But it is money.
Yeah.
But you gotta know what you're gonna put in that bid, and, well, you shot, what is this, coming into September? When would you start fishing for? Then you're not gonna get any bids anyway.
Right, I
2
mean,
years ago.
we're going to need a number to be in the budget for January.
Right.
So you're putting something out in November, getting stuff back in December to have in for January, so.
Early November. 2 months trying to get a price on a flatbed.
Right.
So, and I don't know, I don't think anybody's gonna bid it anyway, so I think it's a moot point, quite frankly. I know Livermore Falls went to both Casellas and Waste Management, and there was no mass there. And I don't know, they asked one other guy out in Outfit, and the guy said, "No, you're too far away, not mess with you." So I don't think anybody's gonna come over there, but it's his niche, he does a lot of towns, he's got his relationships, he does good, and nobody's gonna do it different. And certainly, once you do that, if you're gonna put in a bid, that your recyclable, your curbside guy is going to pick up the trash, dump that at the J facility across that scale. So we don't even wait, we don't care, he dumps it.
Right.
Actually, we don't care, we take it to Nordrock, he gets weighed, we pay the bill. But if his recyclables, he comes in and we weighs that, he takes them right to Sandy River. How do you put that in a big document from another guy if you get a guy from Waterville that says, I'll try it for a year? Now you're gonna give up that, now you're going back there and dump it on your floor up there, sort it on your floor, getting to do another compactor, and you hauling it to Waterville?
Not with one person up there.
There's only one person, right? That's why this is such a good deal. Sometimes you shouldn't mess with things.
Yeah.
Okay, motion was made. Told you second his motion.
No, but I can't. I was waiting for the conversation to start.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor? All those opposed? Okay. Thanks, John. North J Sewer Project. Extension, the first one is extension of the financing for a year.
Yeah, currently, tomorrow is the deadline for us to close on that loan. We're looking to do a one-year extension on that. I don't by any means think it's going to take another year to finish this, but it will give us ample time to get the project finished and apply for the financing, have our final numbers, and go with that. So we could, I believe, do a 6-month extension or a 1 year, but it doesn't make any difference in cost. So we just Lisa and I kind of decided to go with a 1 year request.
What's the cost for the 1 year?
The only cost involved in this is having the document prepared that you're going to be signing, so it's the legal piece of it, getting that piece done. But there's no
So like
cost
$500
as far
bucks,
as if we decide we're going to close the interim and go to full financing earlier, there's no cost involved in that. That wouldn't already be there, those documents again.
Questions?
Anybody else?
Yeah, I couldn't quite understand that. How can you get a 1-year extension on a bond and then incur no cost?
Other than the cost we would normally be incurring anyways, there's
And
no
what is
additional
that?
cost.
What is the interest
The
on
interest rate,
that
you know what
bond?
our interest rate is on the
The
interim?
interest rate is 1% on the interim finance, and then once we go to the final, it will equal 1.51%. It actually stays at 1%, 1.01%, but you add administrative costs to it that total about 0.5% interest in calculation.
So that would be about $300,000, $400,000 more. 1% of 3 million, 4 million.
What we're doing is keeping on 1% for a longer period of time, not going with 1.51 ultimately.
Okay.
Any other questions? Motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to approve the extension of the interim financing for 1 year. All those in favor?
Is there supposed to be some resolution with this?
Terry has a whole pile of papers to sign.
And you're
Right
including
here.
the resolution as part of the motion, right? Because they need to have that. You need to have that resolution, right?
Correct, which is
Okay.
part of that.
And Terry's going to sign on our behalf?
No,
No,
there-
you
it's
will
getting
too.
passed down.
Oh, no.
There's 4 places that everybody needs to sign.
Okay.
Shiloh will decide on that. I missed the first round of meeting. Did you ask them to sign the regs 16 and 17? It's all signed.
So it's where the yellow sign here stickers are on that. There's 4 yellow ones. There's where the board needs to sign.
Downhill.
We have a pledge. Apparently, a transformer blew up there by the Fairfield office. CMD was working on that. Power went out. Apparently, the timing of it was just right, so that we ended up with a high well alarm before the generator kicked on. And the generator kicked on for some reason and set off every alarm I have. So we'll work on that tomorrow. Yes, sir.
What I want.
The actual controls did what they were supposed to in the wet well, so there was a high level alarm, but it wasn't the battery back up as the generator was coming up and we would switch over. So we know that part works, we just have to do the alarm call.
So that's what you did, was a test on the system.
Unintentionally, yes.
Screw that, my TV don't work.
Yeah.
So we must have got a good lightning charge in North James, that good up there, did you get quite a storm up there?
Actually went boom.
Yeah, it was a big boom.
That big boom was up there?
Yeah.
That was quite cool.
About as hard as my house.
I was sitting on the patio when it went boom. I said, oh, that ain't good.
Yeah, that rumbled down to my house. Just like one all by itself.
At my house.
Was my house still there when you went by?
On and off.
Yeah, was it? I came back. He said, "Jump on the high ground."
There's 4 of these, she said, right?
5.
He said there's 5.
Yeah.
I missed one.
Yeah, Tim and I only did 4.
Yeah.
That's it.
No, but there's 2 that are 1 document. and then
I recommend that I be reprimanded, possibly removed from the board.
What's that?
That I recommend I be reprimanded and removed from the board.
Nice try. Sorry, I heard no second.
Second on that, Tom? Right.
No?
What's that?
Did you say
Say
second?
Just say no.
Something about this room I can't get right. Just to be honest.
Was that a second?
No, no.
No, just say no.
If you see any place by this, let me know. I'll sign it for you, okay. Just put it next to it. That's all I can sign.
Next on the list, the change order number 12.
Yeah, change order number 12 is requesting to do 2 things. First, it would be to set a cap price on what it's going to cost to close in the PTU after we do the demolition of it. In other words, to make a doorway entrance, cut into the dome, put in a doorway system, lights inside of it, and a couple of antenna outlets. That's the first thing it does, and it sets the way the contractor did that was a price not to exceed, because he was having trouble getting commitments from subcontractors to do the work. So he was putting an allotment in what he thought it would cost based on other projects he's done. So he feels confident that he can do it for that price or less. And there's a little note on his paperwork that says he will bill us the subcontractor's rate plus his 5% markup. So that is a price not to exceed. This went through approval at DEP, and the SRF program has approved that change order in that manner due to the circumstances. So that's the first thing it does. The second thing it does is It increases the time of the contract. It gives them until October 30th for substantial completion, and then November 30th of this year for final completion of that project. So this will be the last piece of this project, and it should be done at that point in time. The only thing will have to be the warranty period, which was 1 year from August 7th. That's when the warranty started, it was August 7th. So August 7th, 2021 is when our warranty runs out. And we'll pay the contractor the remaining balance to him for retaining to be about $85,000-$90,000 for So that's what that does. And what that does for our overall financing is we were planning on a $5.2 million project. We are going to be about $650,000 under budget overall when all is said and done, including this change order number 12. We're going to have $2 million in bond issue grant money, $1 million in principal forgiveness grant money. So we're going to actually go out and get the loan for $1.55 million as opposed to $2.2 million. That's where the numbers are falling right now, which will basically, we're going to end up with a project that is 66% grant funded. We were thinking our payment, when I came to you first, we were thinking our payment would be in the $130,000 range, borrowing the $2.2 million. Our annual debt service payment is now going to be around $90,000 a year. Once we have final numbers, I can give you I can get an amortization schedule from the SR after that. We're looking at approximately $40,000 a year less debt service payment than we anticipated.
Is that 20 years?
What's that?
20 years?
20 years, yes. And as I said, the long-term financing equals out to 1.51%. So that's what change order 12 does.
Yes, Tom?
Move approval.
Whoop.
I'd like to ask my question first. Is there something on this that I'm not seeing? The gravel for inside the building in there, cutting the concrete walls out?
That's correct.
That is in here or not?
That is included in the total contract. That is not part of this change order. Change order number 11 is where the cutting of the concrete
See,
came
a
from.
whole lot of money for a little roof to build on.
It's a price not to exceed. And the
Well,
problem,
I'm $2 million, real low. That's a high number.
well, you looked at it, and we, actually, Tom came up and we kind of redid the design, and came up with a better idea, ran by the contractor, and they'll actually go with that idea.
For a high number.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Comments? Motions?
Motion to approve the change order 12.
Motion made and seconded, change order $52,800 and not to exceed $52,800. Any second?
Who seconded?
Huh?
Who seconded?
I was going to.
Oh, we thought you said motion made and seconded.
I'll second it. All those in favor? All those opposed?
Sorry. I did one. You won for one.
This book company.
What was Tim's vote?
3-2. Tim voted for it. Maintenance utility tractor.
That is a separate item. It is done through a direct purchase, is what the SRF program calls it. So we limit to maintain the units that we currently have, in addition to the ones that we are going to have down along, or what we have down along the rail trail. We have a simple bar on the side of it, a push hog on the back of it, and a front bucket on it. It's going to be a quick detached bucket. It can be used for different things. The SRF program required that I go and get 3 different prices for it. different dealerships or 3 different manufacturers. And the results are there. The request was to purchase the Coyote tractor, which was the low price, and it actually had a better warranty and came with loaded tires, so we didn't have to pay extra for that.
Questions?
What's the warranty between the 3? What's the warranty between the 3 tractors?
It was
2 years.
6 year on the Coyote, I believe it was 2 year on the Kubota, and I believe the John Deere was also 2 year.
Anybody else? Question? Yes, Gary.
I was curious, on the summary sheet, it says that the horsepower, I believe, is 44.9, is that right? But then on the spec sheet,
On the spec sheet, it says
it's quoted at 39.
39.4. I believe 39.6.
39.6. So why the discrepancy between this and what we're...
I don't know, it is in the 40 horsepower category that we're looking for. Those are all comparable model tractors.
And one other question. Did we request or ask for a municipal discount?
Yes.
On Wallingford and on
Yes.
Hammond? And they didn't?
They were all aware that it was going to municipality, and I asked them to have them include all discounts, and also to have it tax exempt, which they all did.
The tax exempted, but I can't see, maybe you can point it out to me, where there is a...
Some have a municipal discount, some don't.
Because 2 of them didn't have a municipal
Right.
discount.
Some charge more to a municipality.
Yeah, well, I don't know about that. They were all being clear, the question was asked all the dealerships here. Okay.
Any other questions?
Do you know anyone that has a Coyote?
Morris Smith has one. He's had it for about 2 years, and he did deal with this dealership, and he's very satisfied with the tractor and the service. His is a little smaller, I think his is a 34 horse, but he said that he had a little problem, a leak with a hydraulic on it when it was new. Then he came right up, picked it up, took it back, and had it back to him in no time, that same week.
I'm partial to orange, but that's just me.
What's
I'm
that?
partial to orange, but that's just me.
You can have it painted.
You've got a 1934 John Deere tractor we mow roadsides with, and it's currently a swampland.
Actually, it is orange.
Is it?
Yeah.
We're thinking orange.
I was read too. Any other questions? Motions?
Motion to approve the Coyote.
What was that, Judy?
I said motion to approve the Coyote.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor? Next, disposal of property, lab sink and benches.
We have some, I guess we'd say excess property now that we don't have a lab up there. We're currently using it in the garage for our lab. We will not need it anymore, and I'd like to get it out of the way so we can get our garage back to a garage. So I'd like to dispose of that. As late as 2 o'clock this afternoon, I thought I had somebody that was interested in it, but after they came and measured it last week and looked at what they had at their facility, they cannot use it. It's not the right size. I don't know what you want to do with this, but it isn't really something that should be set outside.
I called a friend to see if they wanted to bid on it.
What's that?
I called a friend of mine that does soil work and asked if they could use it in one of their labs. So,
Good. I'd like to get rid of it sooner than later. And I don't know how you want to go about it. It's lab sink, lab bench, and a couple of drawers and a glass storage cabinet. You've got the pictures of it. It's 22 years old. Served its purpose.
We have to decide how we want to do it, though.
Yeah.
like private sale of beer, clothes or whatever. Somebody have a preference, or?
I don't have a preference, but I have a question regarding the unit itself. Is it something that maybe the University of Maine might be interested in, like soil and water, or, you know, because they do a lot of lab work and stuff like that. I don't know if this would be beyond what they need.
It could be. Yeah, I don't know, honestly, who would want it. I don't know, you know, I don't want to just put, what's our policy in here? Is this the board has to approve, go out to bid, what?
The board can decide how they want to do it.
Okay,
So,
perfect.
yeah, it's pretty wide open. I mean, if you want to put it out for bid, I would say to do it, you know, in a no-cost way. So we could put like the pictures on our Facebook page, on our website, put it out, you know, in the lobby at the town office, those, the different avenues that we normally
marketplace.
do, and have a date that bids are due back. If you want to set a minimum amount, you could do that. Or if you just have an amount that you say, well, we want this amount for it, you can set what that amount is, and the first person that comes in with that amount walks away with it. Or any other avenue that you can think of that you'd like to set it out on the front lawn with a for sale sign. Yard sale?
If you was going out to bid, do you have many people that you know that would be interested in that?
What?
Would any other municipality that could utilize something?
See, they've already got their labs already set up here, and they have this, you know, if they're going through an upgrade or something, they get new lab patches and stuff.
And can we advertise this through MMA? Okay. Because in that way, the entire state would.
As far as the value for it, the person that was interested, it was Clearwater Lab, the one that has done our lab testing for some time. They throw me a number at me if they were going to be interested, if it had fit, somewhere in the $500 to $700 range is what they were going to offer for it. So, I was thinking it was probably about somewhere around $500. Well, it's like a 22-year-old vehicle. You pay $60,000 for it, and once you get $2,000 for it, you sell it. Especially just got that old one in front. No, that's, you know, it's used, and I'm sure new it was very expensive when it came with the upgrade that we did 22 years ago. But
So we're just looking at the countertop, the drawers, and the wet well, all that one piece, and the overhead cabinet storage, and all of the beakers and.
no, we're keeping all the glassware, we're retaining all the oven that you can see in the picture, the incubator,
Okay.
all of that stuff we're keeping.
So it's just the cabinet itself.
Just the cabinet itself.
Yeah. Yeah. I make the motion that we put it out to bid
Advertise.
in the least expensive way possible, as Shiloh had suggested.
Corinne made a motion.
Do you want to have a minimum bid, or no minimum?
I wouldn't put a minimum, I don't think.
See what we get.
I'm afraid if you put a minimum, you may
Yeah.
have to come back and redo it again. We still can accept and reject any and all
Yeah.
bids, I mean. So.
Did you second that, Tom? Motion made.
spend any money to advertise it though.
And are we bidding them as one thing, or do you want them to do separate?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I bid it this
I like it, but no.
Yeah. So,
Motion made and seconded to vote the bid on the lab sink and benches. All those in favor?
Those pictures actually try to.
Yeah.
Do you have dimensions?
Yeah.
Dimensions?
Probably helpful. Good idea.
Other business? Tom first.
Oh, I don't want to cut in front of these guys.
Oh. Good.
Go ahead.
My turn?
Go ahead.
Okay, I wasn't gonna do this, but the purchasing policy is a drag. I have been, since last fall, trying to buy a flat bed aluminum body for a pickup truck. And I still only got one manufacturer give me a price. And your policy says I need 3 prices and $2,000. This body was $3,800 last fall, it's $4,020 now. I just got that price July 30th from the people that would use the fire department for a couple of bodies. You bought your bodies from them, they're known to be good company. I went to a Portland company, took them 18 days to tell me now we're not doing it. But we'll give you a price of our body and our tailgate and our stuff. And so now I started from scratch again and go to 2 more. I don't even know what to get to the other companies now. Can I buy a body? Someone wants a body.
I don't have a problem, I mean, you've gone out to different people by the sound.
Maybe I bet, Johnny, I mean.
Right now, we put the sander in the pickup. And in the winter, we load it, we go up and do it, then we gotta take the sander apart, we unplug the sander, 4 guys gotta get it out of the damn truck and wash the body out. Well, you're gonna have bodies gonna go 3 years instead of 4. And put it all back together, we got a flatbed, we throw down some 2x4s, we hit it with a hose, because you got a gap under it and keep going. And we got a hydraulic tailgate that's gonna be put on it, so we'll listen. It's not gonna hit the ground, because it's not made for this body, but I'd rather lift something 3 inches and 3 feet. And saves throwing stuff over the sides of a pickup, and that body will go up the barn, and you trade them in 7 years, we'll put the new body back on it, you get more value out of it. If Ford hasn't changed their frame design, we'll put it on the next one. If they have, we'll sell that one and start over. Somebody will, I won't.
And have we got any questions?
No, I think everybody I know has been happy with the ones that bought way it went. I just assume we go ahead and get that going so we have it before we're out here shoveling sand into it.
Yeah, this price only good 30 days, that's running out.
Yeah, well, how much difference is this price from last year, this year?
About $100. Call them. Talk to them enough. I don't think he gets to decide, but I try.
So our procedure is that he has to get 3, correct? But we can make a motion
Right,
on this
board can
particular.
take, has discretion.
Right. We basically, we keep the policy the same, but when he comes in like he has and says, hey, I've made a valiant effort to try to get 3 bids, I can only get one that's worthwhile, and this is it. I agree with that. Get it before your 30 days runs out.
I'm all for it.
But Tom says you gotta knock off another $100.
Okay, I'll tell them. They still, if you agree or you sign the contract, then it goes to their engineering, you get engineering drawings before they do anything. Because this other company had problem putting out how to tailgate on it, said, I don't think we can do that. And I called them and said, they said they can, I don't want them. We said, no problem, I keep back on work. I've done everything I can do. So I'm calling another company down, Wayside somewhere, trying it again. I'm currently trying to get 3 bids on abutments at the dump, I'm trying to get 3 bids on what else? Catch basin cleaning, I'm done getting 3 more bids on, we'll just stay with the body we got, I just can't wear that one.
Any other questions? Was that a motion, Gary?
Yes.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to, what was it you're gonna buy, 2,000 roughly?
4,000 and I got it here. I don't have glasses, 4026.
4,026.
Yep.
All those in favor? All those opposed?
I'm going to abstain because my son was sending you a price.
That's a frame change, though, that would be, they
Yeah.
could find somebody who can weld aluminum and it might have worked. And the other thing I've got is, like most of you know, Tim knows, I know I met a contractor built Saturday. The abutments at the scales are cracked, they're spalding, and they're coming in to the point they're pinching on the scale, so that don't work right. And we're getting a lot of weight, it's the same weight. So, and all the covers between the joints are rotted out and gone. We started replacing the covers in-house today. The end caps, we've got all off. Trying to get the bolts out of them. We've got some new ones made up for that. I'm getting steel prices from a couple of different people, and we're gonna get that ordered tomorrow morning, and we'll build them. But the contractor's gotta come in and do the abutments. That contractor promised a price by the end of the week. I called him today, or texted him today, and told him that just bid the cement, we'll take care of the steel work and whatnot. And He's supposed to look at it, and when I leave here tonight, I'm calling another local cement guy, see when I can get him up there. But just so you know that they're gonna take some money, they're gonna take some. They put in, I think, in '94, the dump started in '90, they didn't have scales, they couldn't really figure out how to weigh, and there was 13 towns at one time. Charlie got some scales put in. I did find out that the software, everything that runs in scales, they stopped making in 1996. So we bought old technology when we bought it, but you can still get parts for it now.
Any other business? Not for, August 20, what?
Skip right over. Yeah, we don't need to hear from you.
No, well, as long as he's sitting there, there's gonna be something.
So part of this demolition up there that we're doing at the plant, we've ended up with a 8-foot by 8-foot fiberglass enclosure structure. It used to be the dechlorination storage building. I believe that there is another department in town, the rec department, they'd be able to use this to house their ATV. Is it okay to give it to the rec department? Is that how we want to dispose of it, or there's a thought they could use it.
The ATV will fit inside
The
there.
ATV will, the snowmobile will not.
So the snowmobile could stay in the existing shed they have, and the
Yeah.
ATV would just go in the other one.
I don't know if anybody has contacted the rec department. This came from someone who had knowledge that they may be able to use it. If they can, is it okay to dispose of it to them?
Yeah, we haven't gone up and looked at where it could be
Where it
set
could
up
go or
there,
anything
if
like
there's
that.
space there, and what kind of a platform we'd have to make to be able, the building has to be bolted down to something, I believe.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a slab.
Right, a slab or build a deck and put this onto the deck, however they want. Pressure slab, yeah. You're gonna put the ATV in a pressure treated deck with this on it, it wouldn't even have to be pressure treated, this is watertight, so.
It's an option to look at though,
Yeah.
but they pulled the building, and we weren't sure when they pulled the building if it was going to come out and be reusable. We assumed it would, but it
Yeah.
is, so.
It
It's an
happens
option to
there,
kind of
so.
look at unless anybody has another idea of somewhere that we can get a building that size, but.
Contact direct people, we need to take a look at what needs to be done.
Richard's, actually, Chief Caton's doing ATV training with them tomorrow, so I'll talk to him tomorrow morning and see if we think that's a viable option.
Yeah.
Good.
And obviously getting it to them would involve another department in town who may be sitting to my left.
Same one's gonna fill your hole.
No, you're just gonna hold sand.
Anything else?
I think that's all it could take.
Sorry, we got plenty of time, we got a thing to do.
Yeah, perfect. Good time.
Lucky we give them that truck body before you asked for that.
Well, I know where the building thing was going to.
Okay, August 25th, select board meeting for commitment at 3 at the town office. September 14th, select board meeting at 6. September 28th, select board meeting at 6.
We don't yet know whether they're going to be, if they're going to be here or not.
Motion to adjourn?
Motion made and seconded to adjourn, all those in favor?